Hello and welcome to everyone. This is Rashim, the Be More Catalyst of Be More LLC. And we are here with the fantastic LaShonda Bracey. She is going to let us know how to get that money and how to land those government contracts for all of those new and emerging nonprofit professionals out there who want to start their nonprofit, not as sure exactly where to go for information, where to go for funding. She's going to give us a lot of tools, tricks, and information to help us to be able to start to do that. Before we get like super deep into it, I just want to introduce you to her. First, let you know how I met her. We're actually in a masterminding coaching program together, and we just kind of connected. You know, that moment where you see another light person who is out there shining bright, helping people, pushing forward, doing their thing, and you just want to gravitate towards those type of people. So when I think about who I want to speak to my audience, who I want to engage with them, I've always take a lot of time and a lot of consideration into that. So please know and do not, I don't take lightly that you chose me. So don't take lightly that I chose her to speak to you and to share this information with you today. You know how I do. I don't really like really boring bios, but I do want you to get to know her. So I'm just going to ask her a few questions so that get to know her. And as everyone here knows also, you know about the Be More movement that breaks down into three parts. That's your being, who you be at your core, your your aspirations, your desires, those things that you're striving to, and then the movement. That's the actions that you take that you're committed to closing the gap between where you are and where you want to be. So before she shares all her goodies with us, I want her to share with us, LaShonda, what is your Be More movement?
I think hello everyone, before we get started. Hey. I think my Be More movement is definitely helping to my core. I want to help other people be successful. And whether it be helping them in a training aspect or helping them to gain government contracts, just be more successful, be more accessible to people, know how to communicate with people, know how to network.
Sounds like we lost her there for a second. You know how technology is, but we keep moving. She's going to hop back on and let us know a little bit more about her Be More movement. So let me tell you a little bit more about LaShonda as we're figuring out what's going on with the technology. I'm sure she's going to get it together and hop right back on. But one of the things that I've had the pleasure of having an encounter with her is she's actually done a session before with Be More LLC, and it was on a Google Hangout one. So she just shared so many really juicy nuggets on how to land government contracts, how to find government contracts, where do you go, what are they looking for. She shared links, resources, and tools. So if that is something that you're interested in, you are absolutely in the right place. This training is for you if you want to generate more revenue. This training is for you if you want to have access to more government funds. This training is for you if you want to get the tools and resources to just help propel your organization forward. This is absolutely for you. LaShonda has joined us back, and she's going to continue to tell you a little bit more about her Be More movement and what she's up to in the world and why she loves doing what she does.
So I don't know what just happened. I don't know if you froze or I froze.
I'm not sure. I was still here, but you know, technology.
Your face froze, so I was still talking. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so explaining to people what I do. So my name again is LaShonda Bracey. I'm the government contracting guru, and what I do is I help small businesses gain and understand and get registered properly for having government contracts. And the reason why I do that is because most business owners don't think that their products or services can be sold to the federal government. But the federal government is the largest corporation in the world, and anything that you purchase and or sell legally, the government more than likely purchases. So I want more small business owners to understand, just because you have a clothing store doesn't mean you can't sell to the federal government. Just because you sell hair weave doesn't mean you can't sell to the federal government. So that's part of why I do what I do. And the one thing that I've found out with a lot of small businesses is they're like, oh, government contracting, that's hard. Once you're in, and it has some highs and lows like any part of business. Like now is a great time to be trying to gain contracts because there's low hanging fruit because organizations are trying to spend their money. It's the end of the fiscal year. And they need to spend it before, number one, the administration changes, and number two, before the fiscal year changes into our new year, because whatever they don't use, they can't get again.
That's the thing.
Right. So one of the first things that small businesses need to do is all you have to do is register. And you go to SAM, which is a system award maintenance system. And you go into SAM and you register. But before you register, there are a couple of things you need to do. You need to have a DUNS number. So you get a DUNS number, and then you also get a cage code.
Wow.
But
before you get too deep, because because you're like me and you, we are natural, like givers of information. We're natural teachers. We just start and we just,
right.
We there. And I love it because very much like you too, how another way that we're like each other is that we're like straight, no chaser. Let me just tell you how to go and get this. And that's one of my things that attracted me to you as well. I want before you get into that, I want you to tell everyone also, because I'm very committed and I really love hearing people's why, and you shared some of your why with us. Tell us about how did you come into getting into some of this type of work? How did you start doing it?
I started contracting before I moved into this area. So I was doing some state contracting and grant type stuff. So what happened was I understood the grants and the nonprofit side because I worked as an education director for a nonprofit. When I moved to this area, I took a position and I was a contractor for FAA. I was a contractor with an organization, and they had a contract with FAA to do some training and course development for them. I didn't stay on that contract very long, but one day I was sitting at my desk and somebody put the contract on my desk. So I started going through it. Was by accident. I started going through it and I'm reading, job descriptions, and I find my job description and I look across and it says billing at $150 an hour. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. That's not what they paying me. I know they're supposed to make something.
Yeah.
But when they're paying me $55 or $60 an hour and you billing me out at $150 an hour, I was like, I need to figure out how to cut the middleman out of my life. So after I left that position, what ended up happening is I started working for, I actually got my first contract. So as I was leaving that company, I wanted to figure out, well, how do you get a government contract? How do you get a federal government contract? How are all these small companies around? So I started digging and researching, because whenever you would ask someone, people would just say, go to GSA. I'm going to GSA and doing what? That's not telling me anything. Just go to the GSA website. So I literally picked apart the GSA website. I figured out how I needed to register, who I needed to register with, what type of paperwork I needed to have. So like, for instance, to be on GSA schedule, which is your General Service Administration, to be on one of those schedules, you at least need to be in business for 2 years. So what ended up happening is I interviewed and I got a contract with Homeland Security, and through another company, but I was an independent 1099er, which was great. So the project manager called me because they had been trying to get me and I didn't want to take the job as a 1099er moving to a new area. But what happened was, he called one day and he was like, we've got some other opportunities. We've got these trainings. We're traveling the nation. Would you be interested? You get to travel the nation on us. The project is for DHS. Da 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 da. I was like, yeah. He was like, so how much are you per hour? And I said, I don't know. He said, give me a price. I said $65 an hour. He was like, I'll take it. That's how I literally got my first
that was
contract.
Your start.
And that was my start. And I was like, oh, I could just do this over and over again. And it's so funny. I'm thinking of my master plan and what I need to do next. You know, if you do something 10 times and then multiply that by 10 and then by another 10, you'll be where you need to be. So I've had the luxury of having some really great contracts. So outside of that DHS contract, I was able to write and get a really large contract with Amtrak. So I built their intranet site in 2012, 2013. So their OIG intranet site is a site that I built. I brought on 2 other employees with me. I've worked with Postal OIG. I've worked with Postal Inspection Services. I've worked with USDA. I'm still currently working with USDA. And then even some of the other larger companies that have larger government contracts. So I work a lot with MITRE. I've done some stuff with Microtech.
The thing I love so much about your story, LaShonda, is how it was just kind of happenstance.
Exactly.
That fell on your desk. And that not only that, but that you took it and you was like, wait a minute, I'm valuable.
Exactly. And now, you know, depending on what the project is, some stuff I'm under $100, but most stuff I build myself out. I'm over $100 an hour now because I understand it. And even me billing myself out at $90 an hour is for $40 a week. I mean, just imagine. You know, that's double a salary if you took a position from an organization.
Right, absolutely. So that's fantastic. So, okay, now I want you to tell us, okay, if a person has no idea, like, okay, like what is the first thing I need to do? I'm an organization or I'm a business or what have you, and I'm interested in landing government contracts. Like, how do I qualify? How do I know if I qualify? Where do I even begin?
If you are already a business, and you're an established business, the first place you go is to sam.gov to register. But SAM is going to require some things for you. Like I said, that DUNS number and that capability statement. I'm sorry, not your capability statement. Your DUNS number and your cage code. So if you're a business, hopefully you already have your tax ID number and you're using it. You can easily go get a DUNS number, but again, obtaining a DUNS number is free, so don't ever let someone try to charge you to get a DUNS number. It is free. Once you've got your DUNS number and your cage code, you can go into sam.gov and actually start filling out the information. What's your company's name? Who is the point of contact? What phone numbers are you using? What bank account do you use? Because that's something that I always forget to mention now. Organizations pay in different ways. So a great example of that is security. I had a contract with Securities Exchange Commission. And Securities Exchange Commission and USDA use a treasury payment system. So you put in your bank account information, your routing number. And this was so crazy. I completely forgot that I had put in a bank account that I had opened a long time ago. So I was wondering, where is my check? Where is my check? This is like in 2012 or 13. And I'm like, oh, it was deposited weeks and weeks ago. Oh. So that kind of information is what you're putting in. You definitely want points of contact. And the thing with registering SAM is you've got to update or refresh your information every year. so that they know that you're still active.
Okay. So just stop right there for a second, because that was actually good and very juicy information. So first of all, we know that where we have to start is SAMS. But even with starting with SAMS, there's some things that SAMS is going to require from us. It's going to require our tax ID number, and it's also going to require a DUNS number. Is that right?
Yep. And a cage
code. CAGE.
Yeah. Okay. And that cage code you would get after you apply and get your DUNS number, you click the link to get your cage code.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So it's a process. You've got to have the DUNS number before you can even apply for the cage code. Got it. So that just registration process could take you like a week or two to gather information and make sure you've got it all, make sure it's all in the system. But then once you have actually registered, what a lot of small businesses don't realize is just like you market and network when you're selling your business, you need to market and network to the federal government. And there's a different way that you market and network to the federal government. So the way that you network is you go to every agency has small business events. So that's a great place to start, just to get in good with some key stakeholders or individuals that make decisions. You want to be around decision makers. And I tell people that all the time. Just because you know somebody that works in the government or your friend works in the government, that's not the person that you want to gather information from. You know what I mean? So you want to look for your ASDABUs or your CORs, your contracting officers. So those are the people that you want to become ace boon coon with, as my dad would say. And then when it comes to networking, you also want to network with other small businesses that have government contracts and or that are seeking government contracts, because you don't necessarily have to go and get a $30 million contract. You may want to start small. You may want to subcontract with someone. So you may want to subcontract with a Booz Allen or a Lockheed Martin or a Northrop Grumman or something of that nature, because that's still giving you what is known as past performance. So when you start looking at some of the larger contracts, that's what they're going to ask you for, past performance. I would also start looking at some small stuff, because anything under $3,000, a federal employee can pay you through a purchase card or through their credit card. Anything under $25,000, they don't have to do a bid for.
Let me stop you right there really quick. So I've just gotten my Facebook Live audience right here. And so what I'm doing is I'm just letting everyone know from Facebook Live, if you're watching LaShonda and I, she's talking about Get That Money, how to land government contracts.
Get that money.
Right, get that money. If you are on the Facebook site, just go ahead and click the link. Hi, Denise. That's right. Get those dollar bill signs. Do you see the live chat, LaShonda?
Yes.
So you can go over and you just simply click the link, and you could join us right here live. Join the chat. Ask questions. Share the information. If you know someone who can, someone who wants to land a government contract, someone who's interested, someone who just doesn't understand and is not clear. I mean, we could all use a little bit more money for our organizations, for our nonprofits, for whatever it is that we're up to. So if you are on the Facebook Live right now, go to my page, click on that link, and join us right here live, where you can ask her questions on how to land government contracts and get up close and very personal information on how to get more money for your organization, for your business, for yourself, for how to move forward. Again, go to the site, go to my Facebook page and click the firetalk.com live link that's there, and you can join us right here live to ask questions. I'm going to go ahead and leave this open so that you guys can see some of the information that she shares. Please share this link. Do not keep it to yourself. Please Hi, Karen. Karen, hi. You can come over and join us live. Go to the link that I put on the Facebook page. Thank you for the heart love. Go to the Facebook page, click on the link, share it with people, let them know. Don't let them miss out. They're going to be mad at you later when you tell them, I was watching this video on how to get live contracts. They're going to be like, and you ain't tell me? Don't be that friend.
Don't be that friend.
Okay. So also I would encourage everybody who's watching, get a piece of paper, get a pencil. She has only really been talking for like a good 10-15 minutes and I'm almost about to get carpal tunnel. Okay. So you want to get your pen because she's dropping juicy nuggets left and right. Thank you so much for all the heart love, Karen. Please share, go to the site, click on the link, join us live so that you can get this information. All right, now I'm back to this live stream. I'm still going to hold this up so that you guys can see. I'm not going to hold it up the whole time. I'll hold it up for about another 5 minutes. I'll come back and show you some love, and we're going to get into what LaShonda is showing. Kavia, thank you so much for joining us on the Facebook Live. To join us actually live, go to my Facebook page and click on that link so you can be in the room and ask her questions directly. Okay, and please do share this with other people. I'll hold this up a little bit longer. I'm just going to recap for those people who are joining us on Facebook Live and just now joining us on some of the things that she has shared about government contracts. One of the things that she has shared is if you don't know where to start, the first thing you should do is go to sam.gov. You simply go there and you register. Now, when you register, you're going to have your tax ID number with you. You are also going to get your cage code, and you're going to need your cage code before you get your DUNS number.
Nope, other way around.
Go ahead.
Other way around.
Tell me.
DUNS first, then cage
Okay,
code.
so get your DUNS number first. She said, also DUNS numbers are free. So go there and check that out. All right, I am back now to you. Go ahead. What else you want?
Don't let anybody try to charge you for a DUNS number.
All right, so we are going to get right back to the lesson. I just wanted to make sure I let as many people know as possible about this information. I'm not going to have nobody mad at me, LaShonda, because I had somebody on here talk about government contracts and I didn't share. I'm not greedy like that. So you go right ahead.
So we started talking about networking and marketing yourself to the government. So what I was saying before we went back to Facebook Live is when you are networking, like I said, you want to network with decision makers, contracting officers, department heads, individuals who actually can make decisions on a contract or can get you moving. The other thing you want to do is make sure that you are reaching out to individuals at other small companies. So every small company around this area, they have a supplier diversity group or some sort of small business group where they actually do maybe some mentor proteges or they do mentoring, and they also do subcontracting agreements with you. So that's something else you want to think about. And then when you start marketing yourself to the government, what you need is a capability statement. So what your capability statement is everybody, I'm sure that's on here, has a resume, right? Your capability statement is your resume for your business. It talks about what you do, the services you provide, how they can get in touch with you, what your set-asides are. We hadn't even talked about set-asides. And then what your NAICS codes are. So your NAICS codes are codes that identify the type of business that you have. So my NAICS code, one of my NAICS codes is 611420. And that is a code that identifies training and course development and that sort of thing. So when I go to research potential contracts that are out there or RFPs, requests for proposals, I can run a search from my NAICS code. And I can pull up all the active RFPs right now. So I've got about, actually, you know what? I carry this sticky around with me. That's all my NAICS codes.
Oh.
So if I'm on a project now, so I've made a life shift. People think I'm crazy because I've been riding the VRE into work. People know I don't ride the VRE. I don't go
Tell people
nowhere.
what that is for people who don't live in the DMV area.
It's the bougie metro. That's the best way to describe it. It's the bougie metro. But you get on it, it's leather seats, it's air conditioned, and it takes me to Union Station for a project that I'm currently on. But I carry this sticky with me with all my NAICS codes, because when I'm on the train or I'm sitting somewhere and somebody hasn't captured my attention, I'll go on to FedBizOps, which is fbo.gov, and I will search for contracts that match my NAICS code.
So for you guys watching again on Facebook, I'm just going to go back over there really quick, and I'm just going to drop the link to make it easier for you guys to easily connect with us. So as you see, I'm going through my screens. So here is the link right here. So as you're watching, use that link to watch us live. You'll see the link right there below, and I'm going to go back over to our live channel. So please do join us. I don't want you to miss out on any of this information. I'm going to go ahead and close out the Facebook Live session of this, and I hope to see you guys come over and join us live on Fire Talk so you can get all this good information. See you there.
So the other thing is, the other thing that I do is I can send my capability statement to contracting officers as well. Like I said, it's just like your resume. So you send your capability statement to contracting officers and say, hey, I provide these services. I would love to spend, so not necessarily the contracting officer, but your small business person in that organization, they hold 15-minute just discovery interviews with you. So they look at your capability statements. They go through their forecasting list, and they can say, "Hey, LaShonda, we've got this training opportunity coming up," or DoD will send me updates. We've got this training opportunity coming up. This may be a good fit for you and your organization. We've got this opportunity coming up. We've got this instructional designing opportunity coming up. So, it's all about, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So that's another way to really build your list. So we always talk about list building when we start talking about networking and marketing and that kind of thing. But you're going to, as a small business owner, you're going to have, especially in government contracting, you're going to have two kinds of lists. You're going to have a list that has all of your government agencies that you need to contact and reach out to. And then you're also going to have your list of potential people that can provide a service or work for you. So those lists are very different, because the reality of it is being a government contractor, you're a glorified staffing company, because you can't do all the work. Like I have to have those talks with myself. I can't do all the work. So you have to hire people and put in place when you gain some of these contracts. So the best way to think about it, for those of you that are in the DMV area, if you think about Booz Allen Hamilton or Lockheed Martin or Northrop Grumman or Raytheon, they're all glorified staffing companies. They've hired you to go work on a contract. Basically, they need butts and seats. That's how you make money.
Yep. Absolutely. So one of the things too that I heard you say, and you've already shared so much in terms of, let's see what Denise just said. I used to work for a government contract, and that is so true. Billing hours back. Yeah. You know, I work for a government contractor as well. You know, that's very common, especially in the area that you and I live, LaShonda. Like everybody is probably in some way working some type of way.
Some kind of contractor.
Right.
Whether you choose to admit it or not. Oh, I work for Northrop Grumman. You a contractor.
Right. So whether
you work for them on what contract?
Right, because that is how it's happened. But you've already given us so many tools, right? Like you mentioned SAMS.gov. So if anybody, if you're right there listening right now, write down these because these are some useful tools and links. SAMS.gov. She also mentioned FBO.gov. And she also mentioned the two lists that you're going to need to have. One list for your government agency, another list for your potential employers or potential people that's going to work with you to get the work done because you can't do it all by yourself. And then
also, you know what? One more list, a list of other companies that you can subcontract work out to.
Yeah, nope, that's a good one. Now, you also mentioned too about RFPs, requests for proposals. Where do we find the requests for proposals?
So a lot of your requests for proposals are going to be on either FedBid or FedBizOps. I'm sorry, FedConnect or FedBizOps. So that's FedBizOps is FBO.gov. And again, I don't know if we can do a share screen.
Let's see. I don't have that function over here.
Okay. But what you would do is once you go on to fbo.gov, you can do a search, but you can do a search by keyword or by NAICS code. So that's exactly what I do. I go over to fbo.gov and I put in 611420 because that's my main NAICS code. And I pull all of the contracts that are currently available in that NAICS code. I can also see if you register in FedBizOps, what you can do is when they have requests for quotes or requests for pricing or pre-solicitations, when you see those, you want to click the link to be a registered vendor. So government agencies are now looking at you because the other thing you don't want to do is when you see an RFP and you submit something, it's the first time an agency has ever heard of you. So you want to make those connections. And then I stress to people, identify maybe 4 government agencies that you want to work with, because that's the other thing I get people that say, oh, I want a government contract. Well, who do you want a government contract with? Everybody. No, you don't. Identify the 3 or 4 organizations that you can sell your product or service to and run with those to start before you start venturing off. So I'll give you a good example. So my first contract was with DHS. So I've established that relationship. The next contract was with Postal Inspection Service. But from Postal Inspection Service, I went over to Postal. Then the next one was Postal OIG. And from Postal OIG, I went over to Postal Inspection Services. While still doing Postal Inspection Services, I went to Amtrak OIG. So I saw a niche with working with OIG organizations because they're very small boutique organizations. They're the police for every organization. And every federal agency has an OIG. So I saw that as an opportunity.
So how does a person, so you told us, how to get started with the government contracts. Where should we go? And then you talked a bit about identifying government contracts that would be the best fit for you. I think I'm getting echo, so I'm gonna lean back. The ones that would be the best fit for you. How exactly do I identify? Like, what am I looking for? Am I looking for size to see if they'll be a good fit?
So look at what you can go back and you can look at their forecasting and see what they've purchased and see, for instance, if you sell nuclear missiles, then you probably don't want to reach out to NIH.
Probably not.
If you sell hospital equipment, then USDA is not who you want to reach out to. You want to reach out to NIH. You want to reach out to Veteran Affairs. You want to reach out to organizations like that. So you've got to be very clear about what your products and services are. So I am a trainer and I can train in anything, but I don't necessarily want to go and try to train on some new medical technology.
I see.
That's not where my love and passion is anymore.
Could you tell us like 2 or 3 of like the biggest mistakes that you see people make when they go out for contracts, and how can we avoid some of those same mistakes?
So I've got a couple of them. So one of them is I've got to like doing all the paperwork to be registered properly, or getting 8A status, because you've paid someone else to give you 8A status and you have no idea what to do with it.
Yes.
The same would be, getting a GSA schedule and never using it. So once you've obtained a GSA schedule, let's say you went after a IT schedule, and that schedule is the IT 70 schedule. It's a technology schedule, but then you never bid on anything. What was the purpose of you going through the process and writing up this beautiful document to get on IT 70, and then you're not even bidding on work? Because people think, oh, I'm on GSA schedule, I don't have to market or network myself anymore. Now you need to be doing it even harder. You've got an advantage because you've got an 8A, or you've got on a schedule, but what are you going to do with it? You just going to sit there and wait for the phone to ring?
Right. So from the information also that you've given us, what is something that we could do? Like, what are like some things that we could do in the next, 30 days that would get us closer to landing a government contract? Like, what is something that I could do?
In the next 30 days,
I want the money now.
Right. In the next 30 days, I would recommend definitely going into the system and registering. Make sure you're registered properly. Attend a government contracting networking event, whether it's from an agency or it's from some other organization that's hosting it. That's great opportunities, and definitely start networking. Because a lot of us are out here and we say, well, we're not salespeople. I don't consider myself a salesperson, but I'm a networker. And then the other thing I recommend people doing is make sure you follow up. So if you get, say, a contracting officer's contact information and they say, call me next Tuesday, call them next Tuesday, while it's still fresh on their mind. And the other thing I'll encourage people to do is not get discouraged if you reach out to a contracting officer and they don't call you right away, or they don't email you back right away. They are extremely busy. And a prime example is I met someone at the government contracting procurement conference maybe about 3 months ago. I sent her an email. I went through all my cards when the event was over. I sent her an email. I sent her my capability statement. It took her maybe about 3 weeks. She sent me a message. Hey, let's get together for a 15-minute discovery session. But she got back to me. So don't think that you're bugging the contracting officers or individuals you meet. You've got to stay on top of it. When they know you're hungry, they're going to help you.
Okay. So these are really great tips, great information that you've given us. And I want, before you do or I try to do an overview and a recap of all the information, right? Because it's really a lot. Like, it's really a lot of information, but you've given it to us in a format that's like that we can. You did excellent, because you gave me, like, I like having tangible tools when I walk away after I talk to somebody. Don't just like tell me you can do it. Tell me, how do I do it? Where the tools? What can I do tomorrow? Like, I want to do it now, you know? Hi, James Anderson. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. If you have a question for LaShonda, please do feel free to pop in and ask her the question. So all of those breakdowns that you've given us, and you've given us some real tangible, actionable items and some real actionable steps that we can do before we even get into the wrap up, because I know some people, sometimes you're on for a second, sometimes people have to go, they have to take the kid this way, go get dinner. I want you to do it now, and then I want you to do it again at the end, and just tell people right now where they can find out more information from you. If they want to get an information session, if they want to go deeper, if they want to say like, hey, this was really good information, but I really need somebody to look over my shoulder while I do this, or, let people know where they can find you.
So I can be found on Facebook at LaShondaBracey.com, or you can type in Government Contracting Guru on Facebook, and my Facebook public figure page will come up. Go ahead and like me there. You can also find me on Twitter at LaShondaBracey.com. I'm sorry, at LaShonda Bracey, not .com. And then my webpage is LaShondaBracey.com. And if you go to my webpage and scroll all the way to the bottom, you can schedule a 30-minute strategy session with me. And that's LaShondaBracey.com. And again, that's a timed 30-minute strategy session, because I'm not going to allow you to pick my brain for 90 minutes. If you want to talk to me longer, it will cost you. Oh, one other thing. If you want just the quick tips, here's my book, The A to Z Guide to Government Contracting. That link is on my webpage as well, and it'll be available on Amazon real soon.
Fantastic. So what are some parting thoughts of wisdom that you can share with us that you think, okay, they definitely need to know this, or if you don't get anything else from what I've already said, make sure you get this bit of information?
Don't be afraid to try. Failure is in not trying. And don't be afraid of a no, because a no could just be a no right now.
I love it.
A no doesn't mean it's a no forever. It could just mean it's a no right now.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. Again, I got a lot out of it. I always like to do regular reviews and go over it again, because you never know when people are hopping out and hopping in. Visit SAMS.gov. When you go there, you're going to have your tax ID. You get the DUNS number first, then the cage number. The DUNS are free.
That's right.
Don't let anyone try to charge you for the DUNS number. If they try to charge me, I'll be like, listen, no, LaShonda said that this is my first cost, and that's exactly how I'm going to be. Also, that you reminded myself that I need to market and network to federal government agencies, and talk to the contract officer, and that helps to develop past performance. Also, what you said about having a capability statement. You said it needs to have what you do in the capability statement, the services you provide. What are your set-asides? What are your NACs or NAICS?
NAICS codes.
RFPs, requests for proposals, visiting fbo.gov, which is Feds Biz Ops. Also remembering your 3 lists that you need to always have. You need to have a list of the government agencies, another list of potential people that are going to work with you to get the job done on the contract, and then another list of people that you might subcontract the work out to. So that was-
And I know it's hard for people to make calls. Business owners tell you to make 20 or 30 calls a day. If you're working on a project, you can't make 20 or 30 calls a day. But what I found myself doing is in the evening, I type up my emails and I schedule them to go out the next morning.
No, that's a good tip. That's definitely good, because sometimes it's like, I have the idea, I have the information right now, but it's like, I'm not about to send an email at 2:00 in the morning.
Right. So you, at least if nothing else, if you can't schedule them, put them in draft. And then like when I am and depending on what email address they're coming from, when I put stuff in draft, when I'm sitting on the train now in the morning, I'm hitting send on all of those. I'm one of the first emails that people see. So you gotta be strategic about it.
No,
you gotta get. What did our coach say? you gotta get gully with it.
Right? We ain't playing. No.
Right. This is not a game.
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much again for all the information, all the content. Thank you, everybody, for who's on watching live and everybody who's watching the replay. I don't take lightly that you chose to connect with us and that you chose to spend this time and share and get your information and resources from us. If this has been enough for you to know what you need to do, your next best move for your nonprofit, fantastic, awesome, then my work here is done. If this is just the beginning, this just tickled your curiosity, please do reach out to LaShonda. If you want more on nonprofit development, please reach out to me at bemorellc.com. You can click the link below to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. You can follow us on Facebook at Be More LLC, Twitter, we're Be More LLC, Google Plus, Be More LLC. Join the Be More LLC nonprofit community and get more information. We are committed to your win. And until next time, continue to do more, serve more, and be more. Thank you.
Be more. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.